Hello, thank you very much for coming here today. One thing I noticed in Kwasi's slides there, in the 4 points to do with junior mining companies, one of the most important aspects was that is fully in control of the company is jurisdiction. So happy to say that we are exploring in Spain. As you can see from the cover slide there, that's the kind of territory we're looking at. If you're looking for an ideal place to explore, this is what it looks like. There's no major waterways, there's no mountains, there's very little as far as other vegetation and little creatures. So all good things in the mining business to be clear of. We're looking for copper and we're looking for gold in Spain. We have two primary projects, the Escacena Project, which is in the south of Spain. That's just below, or just 25-minute drive northwest of Seville. Major operating area where most of the supergiant VMS deposits in the world are found in southern Spain. The Carmenes deposit in northern Spain is our new project. We came out earlier this year with our initial soil geochemistry results there. We found gold in soil, and I'll talk more about that later on, but one of the first major gold discoveries in northern Spain in some time. Really interesting project, and we're drilling there right now. In fact, we'll have our first results next week on that. Focusing first on Escacena. Tier 1 jurisdiction, excellent infrastructure, maybe a little bit too much green energy right now, but they're going to figure that out with some, hopefully, energy storage. Obviously, one of the lower energy costs places, which is important for a future commercial producer. The major companies that are operating near us, Grupo Mexico actually joins our property. We've got First Quantum's Las Cruces mine, which is in the late stages of a sale process. So there'll be another company that'll be taking over that project. That's 12 kilometers to the east of us. And then the famous in the mining business, at least, the Rio Tinto mine, where the Rio Tinto company was founded, is 25 kilometers to the northwest. The largest supergiant VMS deposit in the world, still in operation today. Looking at just the greater region, and I'm glad that Kwasi spoke to this earlier in that jurisdiction is important because I've got 3 or 4 slides on jurisdiction. So you can look at within 40 kilometers, the 3 major mines that have been in operation or will be in operation. If you look down to the southwest at Huelva, that's a Freeport smelter. That's 70 kilometers away from our mine. And as I'll speak to later on, we're one of the few mines in the belt that will produce a quality of concentrate that could actually be smelted in Spain. Most of the other mines have to ship to China for smelting. Zooming in a little bit, you can see to take the road when you're driving up to our project, you pass right by the Las Cruces open pit. That used to be one of the highest open pit copper mine in the world, 6 to 7% copper. Has been all mined out. It's fully permitted to go underground, so the new buyer will be building a new processing plant and will be going underground with that. Obviously, a big advantage in the world today to be a fully permitted project, so we're looking forward to hearing who acquires that project. Grupo Mexico is 1 permit away from getting the ability to start construction of their new production facility. They've got a 17-year mine life underground underneath the old Las Frailes open pit. Big thing there, and it's really in addressing one of the environmental issues in the industry. 2 old open pits there, currently predicted within the next 5 to 10 years to overflow. Significantly acid water in those, so somebody has to treat that water within the next 5 to 10 years. That's going to cost several hundred million euros, and either the government's going to pay for it or a company will pay for it. And at this point in time, Grupo Mexico has it in their plan to treat that water before they start anything to do with mining, so that would be a positive cleaning up of a site. Looking at the Escacena project, one of the great optionality aspects of our project is the number of targets. We have more than 15 targets to test. This year, we're testing a record number. We're testing at least 6 new targets at the site. Our La Romana deposit, we just announced results from an extension to that. That deposit now is 1.7 kilometers strike extent at surface as copper, tin, silver. We'll be putting out a resource on that project at the end of the year. Also in that release on Monday, another item that's not even in this one, but will be shown later on, is the Pantoja discovery that we've made, which is a copper tin. It's got more tin in it than the other parts of the deposit. So that's something that will add value for investors. One of the great things about this deposit, which makes it so open pitable, is it's near surface, which is incredibly rare in the belt to find these days. And it's got a continuity that's consistent. The intercept on the left is at the very far western end. The intercept on the right is in the middle of the deposit. So you can see that there's not a lot of variance. It kind of dips at about 37 to 40 degrees from surface to the north. We've chased it down for at least 400 meters. So a good long life deposit that we could be mining before the end of the decade. Here's something that I think a lot of retail investors in particular do not look at very closely. I know a lot of institutions do look at, is metallurgy. For a company that hasn't put out a resource, this is incredibly rare to do the metallurgy and to put a slide out on it because the metallurgy is so good. Part of the nature, and we can talk about this with our geologist who's here today, Michelle, we can talk about privately why that is, but the nature of this is not a true VMS deposit. It actually never broke the surface of the ocean, so therefore there's no arsenic, there's no mercury. It's a very clean deposit. Also large size, so you're talking about 100 microns instead of typically what a lot of the mines in the belt have to grind down to 10 or 15 or 20 microns, which is very energy intensive. The milling process for mines can be 30 or 35% of their OpEx costs, so something like that will be a big saver for us for money economically. You can see what the model looks like right now. This is when it was 1.5 kilometers, which was last week. Now it's 1.7 kilometers. On the eastern portion, we did drill down deeper just to chase it and see if it was consistent. Found it to be. So then we decided to save investor money and just drill 200-meter holes as we marched to the west. Obviously, lots of down dip and infill potential for future drilling. Big plan for this year, and I think that's sort of the other than knowing the background of the company and what we have to date, but the big plan of what's going to change this year. The work we're doing this year, again, more diverse targets, 2 different projects, and results that are starting to come out now. So we had our first result out this week. We'll have more out next week. That news flow will continue for the coming months. We're expanding La Romana to the point where we will produce a NI 43-101 compliant technical report by the end of the year. That'll be a maiden report for this property. This is really a rare greenfield project in a highly developed area. In Carmenes, this is really an interesting sort of brownfield breccia project, but what that means to you is really polymetallic. There's platinum in there, there's palladium in there, copper, nickel, cobalt. But what we've found that no one else had found at this project when it was last in operation in 1930 was we found a gold halo around this breccia. So really intriguing, and we're going to be doing a lot more geological work on that this year. Here's what those targets look like at Escacena in the south. The greeny color boxes are to deal with what our targets are. The Pantoja is really looking like a new discovery, just a copper tin discovery that we just announced on Monday. So only 3 holes in that, but it's looking very good, potentially displaced a little bit. It's about 500 meters away from the west side of La Romana. So great property, keeps turning up new things. All VMS deposits look like this. So if you look at like a Neves Corvo, there's actually 6 deposits there. It ended up being a 300 million ton operation, still in operation today, just got acquired from the Lundins by Boliden. What I was talking about before, like the timeline to production, we could get La Romana into production by the end of the decade. The reason for that is that Spain, in southern Spain, has one of the best jurisdictions for permitting, absolutely in compliance with all European standards for environment and for process, but they just work differently there. And so they've got a guarantee of within 27 months, you will get your permits from beginning to end. The last mine that was permitted was Masa Valverde for Atalaya. That was in November 2023, and that was a 23-month end-to-end process to approval. So that's why we can say with confidence that we think this could get approved in that time. Look at Carmenes, just to give you a bit more context, in northern Spain. It's about 55 kilometers north of Lyon. Used to produce a copper, cobalt, and nickel concentrates. They had a small smelter on site. This was back in the 1930s. It actually had been in operation since the 1880s. So very small scale, but interesting. They never knew that there was gold there. So that's why it was a revelation for us that we'd reached that point. Here's what the soil geochemistry showed us. So the pinker areas are potential targets because there's elevated elements in those areas. That's something that we want to look at in more detail as time goes on. And then looking at the surface, the reason why our share price took a bump when we put out the soil geochem, 16% copper in soils and 21 grams per ton in gold. So that's really what piqued everyone's interest. Subsequently put out a channel sample, the one on the left, Gallery 1, 37 meters at 3.1 grams per ton. This was an exploration adit that was built looking for copper. They didn't find the copper. There was gold the entire length of it, not visible, but interestingly enough, they ended in probably the best area to get higher grades of gold. They ended at 6.5 grams per ton. So we're really excited. We're just in the process of getting a permit to go on the other side of the hill to then drill down, which would be fairly close to true width over these areas. So particularly looking forward to that starting up. We have some excellent shareholders, and one of our goals as a company has been, as a company operating in Spain with a team of 15 altogether, we want to try to get as many investors from Europe involved in this company. So in our last financing, Conwave came in out of Switzerland for 9.9% of the company. That was a great boost for us as far as support. We had a large Spanish private investor also coming on that financing. And another one that you might recognize, the Commodity Discovery Fund out of Amsterdam, is involved with the company, and they also increased their stake at that time. So really just looking at what the catalysts are and why you should invest in us. We've got a resource coming out on La Romana by the end of the year. We've got multiple targets that we're testing. We'll have drill results out on those. Then we've also got the new project, our Carmenes, with the gold discovery, which is something that's got everyone quite excited. So I think if you look at those as multiple optionality, different projects, different targets, different elements, there's different ways that you could, as an investor, benefit from investing with us. So Christian, with that, if there's any questions, I'd open it up to people from the floor.
No? Okay. Yeah. How important is the tin in the La Romana deposit for you guys?
Sorry, what?
The tin. How important is it?
How important is it?
Yeah.
Really interesting. I mean, it would be 15 to 20% of the in situ value right now. So as a byproduct, something that's going to be significant to the economics of the project.
Okay.
With the latest discovery from Pantoja, it could mean even more. So it's something that I think we're really excited about as a company. Almost all the tin for any of the geologists in the room is cassiterite, and it's coarse grained. We're able to get a superior around 63%, which is very high for tin. Usually in the standard in the industry is 50 to 55% concentrate. So it's superior grade, cleaner concentrate. Same with the copper. And happy to talk with anyone about that if they want to get into metallurgy.
If anybody's interested to learn more about Bank Global, our media partner, Tara Hutton, has a virtual site tour in the back of the room. So you can tour the site with
and it's a bit of an Iberian Pyrite Belt, so you'll see Rio Tinto, you'll see Las Cruces, so it's
definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, worth a few minutes for sure.